In corporate America, when you ask a colleague, how are things? You almost half expect these answers. Same old, staying under the radar, or maybe counting down to Friday. And once in a while, you'll get to see this altogether perky smile with living the dream. You pick up on the sarcasm. Now, why do we choose this path of survival? Because I guess it's easy. There is no cognitive load on your brain. There is no risk taking. There is no rocking the boat. And all you have to do is punch in, stay under the radar, get through the day, punch out. That's fairly easy. But deep inside, we know that there's a price to pay, a big price. We also know we're going to regret it. Now, why do we know this? Because this is untenable. Getting through the day in survival mode quietly chips away at our self-esteem, our self-worth. It steals our joy. It steals our true essence. Our potential stays unexpressed. And is there a pain greater than the pain of unexpressed potential? Somewhere inside, we already know how our story is going to end if no change happens. Now, how do we know regret will come? Just remember this. Work matters. For many of us, work is our identity. It's our legacy. It's where we contribute, where we add value. Just remember how you felt the day you got your job offer. Then sadly, somewhere along the line, life happened. Challenges shifted us into a survival mode, and we lost our mojo. The question is, can we get our mojo back? Yes. But for that, we first need to zoom out and consider the 4 domains of our life. What are the 4 domains? Work, love, health, and play. Your life is running on all these domains, whether you're paying attention to them or not. The time and energy allocated to each of these domains will shift throughout your life. Your priorities will shift. But if you align your current priorities with these domains, you will shift from survival to living. You get to pick the priorities, not others. Work. Think about work. That's where you're busy. That's where you get your work done. But the question is, you're busy, but are you fulfilled? If the answer is no, you have to ask yourself, what is missing? Think about that for a while. Now, the domain of love. It covers your family, your friends. These are the people who give you a sense of belonging. These are the people that nourish your soul. Now, what are they getting? Are they getting the best version of you? Or are they getting the leftover you? Ask yourself, how important are relationships to my life? What needs to change in this domain? The next domain is health. Your health is keeping score. You know you can't pour out of your life with an empty cup. So you have to nurture your physical and mental health with good habits and the kind of inputs you get into your life, because we got to have that full cup to share with the world, to show up the way we want to. And now is play. Play is one of those overlooked domains. We choose not to rest. We are go. And that's what comes to hurt us. This domain of play is a game changer. It truly releases your creative juices when you walk in nature, when you have a quiet moment. If you don't have that creativity through rest or through hobbies, you will pay for it eventually. You will not be that interesting person that others want to hang out with. Now, I'm going to share a few snippets from my life to illustrate how domains and our priorities work together. When I go back to my early career days, I recall being a stressed out workaholic. I had only 2 top priorities in my life at that time: impressing my boss and taking care of my children. 2 priorities. And when it came to work, all I did was whatever my boss asked for, I would rush in and get it done. And, if he said stay late, I stayed late. If he said work the weekends, I worked the weekends. I did everything and beyond to be noticed, to make sure he's happy with me. And then other priority was always calling out to me, my home. And I would rush because I work late. I would rush on the Houston freeways. And I remember having some very weird outbursts. It was so uncharacteristic of me. I would get severe road rage because I was trying to make it to the daycare. And I remember some incidents, especially one where in these residential neighborhoods, if somebody didn't follow stop sign protocol, I would get so angry that I would just honk at them. And once some poor young man who probably made a mistake had to pull over to let this angry mother go by. Just that story is to illustrate I was a very one-dimensional person. There was no room to take care of my health, to nurture my soul. There was no room for play. I said no to invitations from friends. I was so singularly focused. And with that, I'm just trying to share that my agenda was set by everybody else but me. I had to get control of my own agenda. And then later in my life, when I realized after I was passed over for promotions, that this single dimension woman was not going to make it, I turned to self-help books, and they kind of taught me how to raise my self-awareness. Slowing down to discover me led to me uncovering my passion. I figured out things about myself. I realized I was very passionate about public speaking. I would schedule time to go to my Toastmasters meetings, to speak and improve on my skill, and it just fulfilled me. And once I learned communications and I learned techniques in messaging, and I grew my influence at work. I actually won friends and influenced people a la Dale Carnegie, and in a way it helped me get my promotions and career growth. And all I did was allow play to come into my life. So this is a domain that was ignored, but when I did adopt it, it changed my whole career trajectory. Now, later in my career, when I retired in 2022, I decided that I was going to throw myself into building my business. And I did that, and I did that well. But I realized the old workaholic me was taking over. And then my health started screaming for attention. And last year, I decided I again can't get back to being my one-dimensional self, even though play was very much a part of who I was, but my health wasn't. And when I've paid attention to health, things have started improving for me. I'm on my journey back, and I can just see how when you ignore one domain, it will come back to remind you to be this full, multi-dimensional 360 person where your vibes shift. People want to be with you. They find you very interesting and not this overworked, stressed out worker bee. I just helped control my agenda, what I said yes to, what I said no to. So I have shared that with you. Now, if I were to ask you that question that I asked at the very beginning, how are you doing? I want you to think about it and respond. Please let it not be same old, same old. Truly think about your priorities and the domains of your life. How do they fit in? Do this visualization exercise, please. Think about 1 year from today, where you want to be. But if you changed none of your focus and if you changed none of your habits, which domain would be the one you would regret ignoring? Think about that. 1 year from now, which domain would you regret ignoring if nothing changed right now? That domain is calling out for you. That domain is what's going to shift your vibe. That domain is going to shift you from surviving every day to living every day on your terms. If you were to think about work and say, you know what, if I start prioritizing health, play, and family, what if I don't get that promotion? Ask yourself, if somebody gets ahead by working 18 hours a day, would you want to be that person? Or if you feel like you want to be that person, you want to get that promotion, there's no guarantee. Go ahead and say, you know, work is very, very important to me now, and I'm going to throw myself all in. There's no shame in becoming a workaholic. I'll never forget The Devil Wears Prada movie. Miranda Priestley said she was so good at her job, while she regretted not spending time with her daughter, she knew where she spent time was fulfilling for her. So it's not about somebody else's roadmap, it's about your roadmap. Where do you want to be? Think about that. On a quiet weekend morning, if you could just sit down with where are you just going through the motions? Where are you not living fully, completely? Start writing down those domain names, those priorities, and actually schedule time for it. You will notice that once you adopt some of these good practices, your vibe will shift, your personality will shift. All those opportunities that elude you, I would say people are going to be attracted to the new magnetic you because you have chosen not to survive, you have chosen to live. A few minutes with domains, your priorities, aligning, schedule time, put in the effort, and suddenly everything about you shifts. Your vibe will shift, and that's a guarantee. So stop surviving, start living. If this helped you, please consider subscribing.